we are going to see Limitation Act 1963. Section 1. This act applies to entire India on central government notification in Gazette. Section 2. Applicant means any petitioner, person from whom applicant derives rights, person whose estate is represented by applicant as executor or administrator or other representative. Application includes a petition. Bill of exchange includes hundi and a check. Bond is an instrument to pay on condition that obligation is void on happening or non-happening of an event. Defendant includes a person who derives liability to be sued, person whose estate is represented by defendant as executor, administrator or representative. Easement includes a right not arising from contract. Foreign country means country other than India. Good faith means work done with due care and attention. Plaintiff includes person from whom right to sue is derived, person whose estate is represented as executor, administrator or representative. Period of limitation is equal to prescribed period. Promissory note is promised to pay specified sum at a specified time to another on demand or at time mentioned or at sight. Suit does not include appeal or application. Tort is civil wrong but does not include breach of contract or breach of trust. Trustee does not include binami, mortgagee in possession after getting mortgage redeemed, a person who is in wrongful possession without title. Section 3. Subject to Section 4 to Section 24 both inclusive, suit, appeal or application shall be dismissed if not filed within prescribed period. Suit is instituted when plaint is presented to proper officer. In case of a proper application for leave to sue as proper is made. Claim. When a claimant first sends the claim to official liquidator. Set off or counterclaim is a separate suit. Set off is instituted on the date of suit where set off is pleaded. Counterclaim when the counterclaim is made in the court. Application by notice of motion in a high court. Date when presented to proper officer of that court. Section 4. Expiry of prescribed period when court is closed. Then next working day is counted. Even if closed for any part of working hours in a day, court is deemed to be closed. Section 5. Prescribed period can be extended for appeal or application except for application under Order 21 of CPC execution for sufficient causes. If applicant or appellant was misled by order, practice or judgment of High Court, then it is a sufficient cause. Minor or insane or idiot can file suit or execution of decree within the prescribed period counted after disability ceases. If two disabilities one after other are at the same time, then within prescribed period counted after both disability ceases, suit or execution of decree can be filed. If disability continues till death, then legal representative within prescribed period counted after death can file. If legal representative also has some disability, then section 6 subclause 1 and 6 subclause 2 shall apply. Person with disability dies after disability ceases, but within the prescribed period, then his legal representative has to file within the same prescribed period. Very important, minor includes a child in womb. Section 7. One or several persons jointly entitled to file suit or execution application is under disability, and if discharge can be given without his concurrence, then limitation will run against all of them. This section applies to discharge from any kind of liability, including a liability with respect to any immovable property. Manager who is managing property of Hindu undivided family governed by Mitakshara law need not get concurrence of other members for discharge. Section 8. Section 6 and Section 7 shall not apply to suit for enforcement of rights of preemption, and it does not extend limitation beyond 3 years for suit or application after cessation of disability or death of disabled. Section 9. Limitation runs continuously once started, but if debtor obtains letters of administration against creditor's estate, then period of limitation for suit to recover debts is suspended till administration continues. Section 10. No limitation for filing suits against trustees. Their legal representatives are assigns, not being assigns for valuable consideration. Explanation. Manager of property owned by Hindu, Muslim and Buddhist religious or charitable endowment is deemed to be trustee. Section 11. Limitation Act applies for contracts entered in foreign country provided suit is filed within the jurisdiction to which this Limitation Act applies. Foreign countries' rule of limitation shall be defense for suits filed within the jurisdiction to which the Limitation Act applies. If contract itself is extinguished by the foreign rule of limitation, parties were domiciled in the foreign country during the prescribed period of foreign country's rule on limitation. Section 12. Date from which limitation is to be calculated shall be excluded. Date of pronouncement of judgment and time needed for obtaining copy of decree, order or sentence is excluded for appeal or leave for appeal or revision or review. Time requisite for obtaining copy of judgment is excluded for appeal or leave for appeal or revision or review. Time required for obtaining the award copy is exempted. Time taken by the court for preparation of order copy prior to filing of copy application will not be excluded. Section 13. Time taken for rejection of pauper application shall be excluded. If pauper application is filed in good faith and court fee paid on order shall be deemed to have been paid in the first instance. Section 14. Former civil suit or application filed for the same issue against the same party in a court without jurisdiction or like cause is excluded. If fresh suit is filed based on Order 23, Rule 2 of CPC, then 14 subclause 1 will apply to the said suit. Date on which former suit or proceeding was instituted and ended shall also be excluded. Plaintiff or applicant resisting an appeal shall be deemed to be prosecuting. Misjoinder of parties or of cause of action is a like cause as defective jurisdiction. Section 15. If institution of suit or application for execution of a decree is stayed by injunction or order, the date of issuing the injunction, continuing period of injunction, and the date when it is withdrawn shall be excluded. If notice has been given for filing a suit, then notice period and the time required to obtain sanction from the government for filing suit is excluded. Date of application for sanction and date of sanction is also excluded. Suit or application for execution of decree where receiver or liquidator is appointed, then period starting from date of institution of such proceeding plus 3 months after the appointment of receiver or liquidator is excluded. Time spent in a proceeding to set aside a sale is excluded in computing period of limitation for filing a suit for possession by a purchaser at a sale in execution of a decree. Time during which the defendant is absent from India is excluded in limitation for any suit. Section 16. If right to sue or file application accrues after death of a person, then time period till legal heir becomes capable to sue or file application is excluded. If a suit or application can be filed against a person only after his or her death, then time period shall be computed from the time when there is a legal representative against whom suit or application can be filed. Section 16 subclause 1, 16 subclause 2 shall not apply to enforcement of preemption or suits for possession of immovable property or hereditary office. Section 17. Effect of fraud or mistake. Time period till plaintiff, even after due diligence, could identify the fraud, mistake or concealment. Time period till plaintiff could get or ask for production of the concealed document shall be exempted. This section shall not apply for suit for recovery of or enforce any charge or set aside any transaction against property bought for valuable consideration by one who is not a party to fraud or aware of mistake, party to concealment or aware of such concealment. If judgment determines execution of a decree by fraud or force, the prescribed period may be extended on application by judgment creditor if he files application within 1 year of knowing the fraud or cessation of force. Section 18. Fresh time limit starts from date of acknowledgement of debt. Date of acknowledgement can be proved by oral evidence. Acknowledgement valid even if it lacks details of property or right or hours payment time has not yet come, refuses to pay, addressed to different person. Signed means signed personally or by agent. Execution application is not application for property or right. Section 19. Payment of debt or legacy before expiry of limitation renews limitation. Acknowledgement after 1st January 1928 should be signed and in handwriting of person making payment. Rent or produce received by mortgagee is payment. Payment under court order is not debt. Section 20. Lawful guardian, committee, manager of person with disability or agent appointed by them or agent duly authorized. Just one of several persons who act together signs acknowledgement or makes payment will not bind others. Reversioner is bound if acknowledgement signed by limited owner governed by Hindu law. If manager of Hindu undivided family acknowledges, it binds others as well. Section 21. If plaintiff or defendant was omitted in good faith, then suit is deemed to be instituted against the plaintiff or defendant at an earlier date and not on the date when he was added or substituted as party. 21 subclause 1 will not apply if party is added or substituted or transposed as a result of assignment or devolution. Section 22. Fresh limitation starts every time a breach or tort is continued. Section 23. If suit for compensation is filed for an act which generally does not result in a cause of action, and if suit can be filed only when there is a special injury, then limitation will start from the date of injury. Section 24. Instruments are made under Gregorian calendar. Section 25. If easement is enjoyed for 20 years in private land and 30 years in government land without interruption, then it is absolute, and suit for declaring easement should be filed within 2 years after such period. If easement is disturbed for 1 year continuously, then it is interruption. Section 26. Period when easement was enjoyed on property given on life interest or term more than 3 years will be deducted when property comes back to the reversioner. Section 27. Right to property extinguishes if suit for possession is not filed within prescribed period. Section 29. This act will not affect Section 25 of Indian Contract Act. If special or local laws prescribe limitation, then Section 3 will apply as if that was the prescribed period. Section 4 to 24, both inclusive, will apply to the extent it is not excluded by such special or local law. This act is inapplicable to marriage and divorce cases. Section 25 and 26 and definition of easement under Section 2F will not apply to territories where Indian Easements Act 1882 applies. Since Section 30 is a mathematical calculation, it is explained by way of an example. A bare reading of the example would suffice. Section 31. If prescribed period under Limitation Act 1908 already expired before the commencement of Limitation Act 1963, then suit, appeal or application cannot be filed under this Act. This Act will not apply for any suit, appeal or application made or pending before the commencement of this Act. I thank you all for your support and encouragement by way of views. If you like the video, please do subscribe. Kindly share it to the people who are in need and help them as well. And like the video. Thank you.